Hello, my darlings. Thank you for joining me on A Slice of Life, A Slice of Life. You know what I want to talk about? Speaking English. Yes, speaking English. We take speaking English for granted. Of course we do, because we just say it, we just start talking, and we assume that everybody understands. But I want you to hear something that just came to me. Don't ask me why. This will be a short at the rate I'm going with this. But I was thinking about the word father. Your father, how much you love your father. And you'll say, my Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Or my father, it's the light of my light. I mean, we think nothing about the word Father's Day. Fathers. Did your father coming today? Some people say your dad, but people say Father's Day. That's the formal term, and he's my father. My father, it's not here right now. Who's your father, young lady? I mean, we have said that word so many times, but I was just thinking the other day when I heard it. I don't know what made me think of father, and then further, and then farther. Because then I said, oh, you can ask your father how much further do we have to go, and how far, and is that store farther away than the other store? I was thinking, like, you know what? I understood all that. But what about somebody else? So I'm talking about the word father, your dad, farther, Farther, going farther, and then further. And I was wild. You know what? Let me just stop and think about the physical distance and the abstract distance. So the physical distance would be that store is farther away than the other one. Farther. But can you imagine someone coming here from another country trying to figure out what in the world are we talking about? It's like red and red. I read it and I have on a red dress. Whoa. Ooh. I don't know. I think I know why I'm talking about these kind of things, because I was a French major and a Spanish minor, more French than anything, and spent a lot of time learning to speak French. And I was thinking, like, now I don't know if I can get 5 words in my mind. I spent a lot of time learning how to speak French, Spanish, German, some Italian, all over with Delta Airlines, and I enjoyed switching languages, and I enjoyed fooling people too. Because I made an assumption. You know how we make those assumptions about people who look like us, and you can just speak French and talk about us because you're in the French line, and you forget that there are people who look like us who come from Martinique and from Niger and from different places, but sometimes people don't recognize that. Somebody did that to me in line one day, and I did. I certainly did. Anyway, I digress. I want to talk about further. So further, the word is used to talk about something that is more in the distance or more in degree. We need to discuss this further. But you hear people say father sometimes. So my teacher in me is coming out. That's because I have all my grades done except for one student. Let me put a pin in that. That's what, Georgina, how you have all your grades done except for one student? Because I'm that kind of teacher. That's why. And I don't want to do it. I just don't want to do it. You know how much money we spend to go to class, and how much money we spend to pay for the classes, and then just to know that class is not going to be your class, that you're going to have to take that class over again. What were you doing? What? So I've been looking for some things, and I found some kind of things going on. So I need for the student to call me. And when I get that done, all grades have to be in tomorrow by 5 o'clock. And if I don't hear from the student, then I'm going to have to I just don't like doing it, but I will do it. I have done it. Yes, I have. But anyway, put a pin in that. I'm done with that. So further. So I can, I need to discuss further with the student what's going on with her grade. That's a further kind of situation. And then something else, it says formally. Further is often considered more formal or more academic. If you say something, if you say further, F-U-R-T-H-E-R. So you have F-U-R-T-H-E-R, then you have Father, father. And his, I don't, how do you get that aura sound in there? I remember when I was married to Alvin's father, I had gone to France right out of Spelman. I went to Canada right out of Spelman. The next year I went to Paris. And he said, and I went to, he said, oh no, that was the third year, no, my third year out of Spelman, I went to Angers. And so Alvin said, so what did you learn? I said, and he was like, what? I said, he was like, what is that? I said, when you get the French aura, you have arrived. He was, so it didn't mean anything to him, like it probably doesn't mean anything to you. But the French people on the other side of the screen, it means something to you. And those of you who know French, you know that you gotta have that spit all in your throat in order to get that aura out. I had gone to Canada, and they have a different kind of aura up there. I'd gone to the University of Laval. It was just different, and it wasn't like that spitting kind of aura. So here I go again. Those who know and enjoy, I hope you enjoy what I'm doing tonight because I'm having fun doing it. And I want you to enjoy it because I want to bring to mind the English, our language is difficult. And when we talk about other people's languages, I need for us to turn around and look at our own language because our language is very difficult. American English is difficult. And now we're talking about something as simple as father, Father, and Father. My father is my father. That's my father. And then the store is father. And it's just a slight difference. And can you imagine somebody who just learned the word father, and you say, oh, you're talking to them and they're trying to keep up. And then you come up with, it's farther than I thought. And they, in their mind, like, so somebody's dad showing up, and you say, no, it's farther than I thought. And that's a whole different thing. So, when we're talking to people, when we talk about other people's languages, I just want us to take a look at our own language. That there's some difficulty in just among us. Ain't is not a word, but we like to use it. I ain't doing that. It's colloquial, it's slang. But can you imagine saying that to somebody like ain't? It's like ant. Or you understand the whole sound system. It's a sounding. It's a sounding system. I need my two experts. That would be Dr. Annie Cheney Jones and my own child, Reverend Evelyn Sanders Swapper, because they can do this much better than me because they know every word. I think everything that every sound and every placement of the words in a sentence. And I admire people like that. Some of you on the other side of the screen, you learned it that way. Remember we used to have the diagram sentences? Do they do that anymore? When they diagram the sentence, you had to, I hate to go up there and do it, but I figured it out. But I tell you when I learned it more, when you learn a foreign language, then they assume that you know an adverb from an adjective. There's an assumption there when you learn the language because in the languages, as you know, a letter indicates if it's male or female. We don't have gender over with the English, American English. We don't have gender assigned to nouns, and so and of course in the foreign language, in the ones that I know, there's a gender assignment. So can you just imagine learning English? It is very difficult, and so my hat is off when I hear people with an accent speaking English. I admire them much more than they know because you've had to learn something. You had to, because you're gonna hear the word red. The first time you hear the word red, and you're so proud that you have learned red as a color. And we're talking about a book. We'll hold up a book to you. Of course, I'm gonna hold this one up because I love you to buy it. And say, "Oh, have you read that?" And of course, the person is gonna be looking at the red on here, right? That's what they're gonna be looking at. I promise you that. And you're gonna just be holding up your thing and talking about it, and red READ is not gonna be. They're just gonna think I'm talking about the red dress that I have on and not read the book. I admire us for that matter. It's very easy for us to just switch. We do switch languages. We code. Like I will just I love coding, by the way. I love the coding I learned with the command line. And I love the coding I do when I don't want other people to know about what I'm saying. I love doing that when I was at work in corporate America, or when I was at work amongst just amongst us. I love doing that, and I love it when you don't know a word. Let me give you an example of that. Did I tell you the story where you can go back? I got 1,000 videos, so I may have told you this already. But I was working at a certain place at Delta Airlines, and this was before we had Karen. This was a Ken, and you may remember this story because Ken was over there. This is the Karen. He's the Karen. We call the men Ken and the women Karen. Well, Ken was over there in his cubicle, and I was new to that department at Delta Airlines. And as I told you, Michael Jackson had just come out with I'm bad, I'm bad, so meaning it was good. And so, but I guess he hadn't heard it. And so, me being black, I should be able to say, or anything I want to say on the telephone, or well, you, Ken, should not have been listening. And this Ken, the female of Karen, decided he would go tell on me to my supervisor, because I had only been there one day. I wasn't even there. I was there maybe 3 hours. Maybe I was there 2 hours, but I was having a conversation in my cubicle, and Karen was over there in his cubicle, and he heard my conversation and went and took his happy behind up to the supervisor to tell what I was saying in my conversation in my space where I was. And that's when I figured out, it took me about three seconds to figure out that I didn't know about the Karen back then, but I knew about what he was. He was Ken, and I was in my space, and you don't talk in your space because they all listening and waiting. It didn't take me long to figure that out. But anyway, Ken went bouncing his happy self up to the supervisor. Supervisor called me. I'm thinking I just got there. I thought he was calling me to say, welcome and, thank you, blah, blah, blah. Do you need anything else? Because I already got settled in. And he called me in to give me some kind of warning. I said, what? I just got here. Well, I heard that you said some negative things about the department. I said, what are you talking about? Well, you were having a conversation. I'm thinking, yes, and you talked about how bad this and bad that. See, white people just need to leave us alone. I said, what are you talking about, bad as in Michael Jackson? He said, what are you talking about? I said, in Michael Jackson's new song, I'm bad, which means good, in, when you translate it among black people. So I was having a conversation as a black person to another black person, and your person came and told you and tried to interpret my conversation. And he was like, well, you just have to be careful what you say. That's my example of father, further, and father. Speaking English in America. That's my fun story for today. That's all I got for you, because that was funny to me. All of it. It's just Ken and Karen. Ken and Karen existed, and that was many years ago, before we had a name for Karen. Karen existed, and Ken existed. We didn't call it that then, but now, as I look back on it, that's what that situation was. So once again, as we speak to people, it's the holiday time, and in Atlanta, we are going to have. We had the Olympics, and now we're going to have the soccer teams here. We have people who are they're right now getting their English together. They're getting red together, RED for the lipstick, for the color, for everything, and then they're going to have to come over here and find out we got a READ. They're getting, I'm going farther, they're going farther, and we're going to say further. Let's talk about this further, and they are going to be lost when you say, let's talk about this what? Trying to translate, let's talk about this further, and all they heard was father, and in their mind, we're going farther with the conversation, and we're talking about further, meaning in future time. It's just knowing things. And then somebody going to say father, and you're going to be talking about FAR, and they're going to be trying to figure out what dad you're talking about. I'm just talking about people. It's amazing that we have such a fantastic, beautiful language that is challenging to the outside people. So as you think about people coming into America, think about your own self, your own English in challenges, or just think about just speaking to other people. Just take your time and think about, if you're going to say that word, you're going to think, you point out, maybe have something, or hand gestures are always good, or in when all else is lost, we all got these things, these phones that translate, But you know what? How do you translate what you think you heard? You know, how would they translate? They got the phone with the translation. Do they put in FURTHER, FARTHER, FATHER? Who knows? I don't know. But let's enjoy the holidays. People come in. I love you, baby, and you can't do anything about